Marcus Washington, everybody's going to be talking about him, and this is another pickup from Texas, so he gets to catch passes again from Casey Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh boy, I'm on a real bad connection here. Forgive me if I cut in and out. But yeah, a guy that's familiar with him and has played a lot of meaningful snaps at Texas, and a versatile guy that has 2 years of eligibility and a redshirt year. And he's already got, like I said, he's got instant chemistry already with Casey Thompson. So you look at that wide receiver spot, and when people were worried about losing Xavier Betts, you know what, they've replaced that now twofold or threefold with 3 transfers. And yeah, this makes 15 transfer portal additions to this roster now, and at a lot of key positions. So you kind of like it. And that's coming off the news of Stephon Wynn off making his decision too, the Alabama transfer defensive lineman. So you really like where Nebraska is standing right now with what they've added to the roster, and it's time for summer workouts and start learning the playbook for those guys.
We'll break down Stephon Wynn here in a second. When it comes to Marcus Washington, this guy was no joke coming out of high school. Top 150 player, regardless of position. 24th rated wide receiver, according to the composite. 3rd rated player in the state of Missouri. St. Louis recruiting ground there, Greg. You're pretty familiar with what that's meant for Nebraska in the past.
Absolutely. I think I saw him play. I think he might have been a freshman or a sophomore when I was watching former Nebraska running back Trey Bryant, if I'm not mistaken. But it comes out of a big powerhouse program out of the St. Louis area, and was actually a guy that Nebraska had recruited back in the day. Obviously in that radius there that Nebraska covets, and he decided to go to Texas, which you can't blame him for doing that. And he's a guy. He's 6'2", about 200 pounds now, and he's very versatile. That's what I like about him, is that he played 200 off the top of my head. It was like 244 or some snaps or something like that at wide receiver, and then played another 185 or something like that in the slot. So he's a guy that knows all the positions out there at the wide receiver spot, and he's definitely going to help out a lot. And when you think about these 3 additions that Nebraska has made in the transfer portal at the wide receiver spot, you're replacing Samori Torre and Xavier Betts, that their combined total snaps. I mean, obviously Samori Torre played a lot of snaps, but you get now with 3 guys coming in with more snaps, playing at basically the same level. So, it's turnover, but you like what you're getting out of it. And like we talked about, he's already familiar with Casey Thompson. He's caught touchdown passes from Casey Thompson already, playing as a Longhorn. So, it's great. It's another weapon for Mark Whipple to have fun with. And obviously another nice thing about having Mickey Joseph as the wide receivers coach here is that you're always going to be able to attract some high-level guys, especially in this day and age with the transfer portal the way it is.
When you bring talented guys together at quarterback and wide receiver, it's not a big deal. They'll figure it out. They will gain the rapport, but it's just a jump on the process when you do bring in somebody that's already worked with Casey Thompson. And as Greg mentions, 3 touchdown receptions last year. And so those came from Casey Thompson. Didn't break out as any kind of star his first couple seasons or in his entire Texas career, but got his first meaningful time, as Greg said, this past season. 18 catches and 3 touchdowns, had his best games against Oklahoma State. That was a really good game that I remember watching. Oklahoma State, a top 5 defense in the country, caught a couple passes for 60 yards in that one, 5 catches for 100, 2 touchdowns against Kansas, and again played against the big opponents down the stretch in the Big 12. So he's not going to be wowed by the stage at all, you wouldn't think, even though, again, we're not talking about a 100-catch guy, but he's been on the field in meaningful games against big opponents. So should be a good one.
And when you talk about this time of year, too, and when you do have a lot of new guys making their way to campus here as summer workouts are happening, and I think the key here is to like you heard after the spring game was over, like guys like Chubba Purdy and stuff were talking about, well, we're going to start getting together, X number of days a week and run patterns and throw balls to the wide receivers. And each position group was kind of saying that to get together. And I think right now is a big time key, especially when you're adding, somebody like Washington that, he's familiar with Casey Thompson, and obviously they're probably going to be spending an awful lot of time together here on a day in and day out basis, as he makes his way to town. So, yeah, it's kind of a key time here where, everybody kind of gets together as a position group and sits down and watches film and reads the playbook and answers questions with each other and work out together. And, if there's a lot of that going on, that's all the much better for Nebraska moving forward.